If you're thinking about buying an Amazon Kindle, you'll be surprised to find out that there are actually 12 different current generation models of the Amazon Kindle. That means 12 different devices to choose from. In this video, I'm hoping to sort out the differences between these models and hopefully guide you on the perfect Kindle to pick. So, in front of you are 4 different Kindles. Unfortunately, I don't own all 12. This is going to be a lengthy video, but I will try to be brief. If you have any questions, feel free to comment or contact me directly. I will try my best to answer them. So moving on, the Amazon Kindle is an e-reader, and what e-readers are basically things that will read books in MOBI format, EPUB, PDF, and sometimes text and documents. But what separates this from, say, a tablet and even your phone is the screen. As you can tell, these are black and white screens, and they're called e-ink, and they basically mimic paper. And what that means is that you'll have to turn on the lights at night to see. There is no backlighting, and supposedly this makes things easier to read. Amazon has done a fairly good job of using e-ink technology, and e-ink does look a lot like paper, although it does look a little sharper, but obviously more gray than a sheet of white paper. Now, in front of you are 4 different models of the Kindle. This is the Amazon Kindle Keyboard, or more widely known as the Kindle 3. This next one is the Kindle Touch. This is Amazon's current flagship, and if you're going for a random Kindle, this is probably the one to get. This next one is the Amazon Kindle Fire, and it is a tablet. So it doesn't have the e-ink screen that I was just talking about. Instead, it uses the same LCD screens you find on TVs or computer monitors. The last Kindle I own is the Amazon Kindle DX Graphite, and this is the largest and also the most expensive model. It has a 9-inch screen, and it is all in e-ink. So the differences between these devices, aside from the price point, are pretty huge for the Graphite and the Fire. They're pretty obvious. But between all the 6-inch e-ink devices, mainly the Kindle Keyboard and the Kindle Touch, the differences are a little more subtle. So I have 4 models, and that doesn't quite add up to 12. That is because there is one model I'm missing right now. I don't have the Kindle 4 in front of me, so you're just going to have to imagine the Kindle 4 as I sort of ramble on about my experiences with the device. Furthermore, each Kindle has several variations. For example, the Kindle Touch gives you options for wireless connection and ads. Ads are pretty self-explanatory. Amazon subsidizes the device by placing ads on, instead of your screensaver, they'd have an ad for, say, Visa on the screen when you turn it off. It doesn't interfere with reading, however, I find it annoying to have any advertisements at all on my devices. Depending on who you are, that is obviously an option for yourself to decide. The wireless connection gives you the option between 3G and Wi-Fi. So 3G connections are an upfront payment of roughly $50, and 3G will let you download books on the go, on the bus, on a plane, in different countries, so you're always tied to Amazon's store. Unfortunately, on newer models such as the Kindle Touch, the 3G is not available for web browsing. For older devices, such as the Kindle Keyboard, the 3G is available for web browsing. However, the web browser is so slow that you're unlikely to make real use out of the 3G connection. So my personal recommendation is go for the Wi-Fi because it's cheaper by $30–40, and 3G is not as useful as it may sound. The Wi-Fi models let you connect to wireless connections, say at Starbucks or at your home, and basically any wireless hotspot to let you download books. It's important to mention that all Kindles have a micro USB port somewhere on the device, so buying books and updating the Kindle and doing any of that stuff is not limited to the internet. You can do it through your computer and onto the device. So an internet connection is not required at all to get books onto your device. So advertisements and wireless connection is probably something you want to decide on your own, and they're very subjective depending on your budget and your tolerance for flashing things. For ads, Amazon makes sure that it doesn't interfere with the reading. So if you have ads here, it's only the screensaver and a tiny banner in the menu. When you get into the actual books or diagrams or PDFs, there are no ads and nothing pops up or anything. So that accounts for the 12 different models, because the Kindle Touch, for example, has 4 different models with different combinations of wireless or ads. To show you the differences between the similar models now, which are the Kindle 4, the Kindle Touch, and the Kindle Keyboard, I want to just talk about the advantages of each device and what I would consider some disadvantages. So currently, I have to say that the Kindle Keyboard is my device of choice among the small size Kindles. The small size Kindles are, of course, sporting 6-inch screens, and the Kindle 4, the Kindle Touch, and the Kindle Keyboard are priced at roughly $100 to $150. The Kindle 4 you can think of as the budget version of the Kindle Touch. Instead of a touch screen on the Touch device, we have buttons on the side and a directional pad at the bottom. Again, I'm sorry I don't have a Kindle 4 in front of me. However, I do have to mention that they are very similar, the firmware for the Kindle 4 and the Kindle Touch. The Kindle Keyboard, however, is different because it is an older generation device. It is the 3rd generation Kindle that has been repackaged by Amazon and sold as a current generation device. When I saw the announcement for the new Kindles, I was very curious as to why they kept the device as the Kindle Keyboard. Obviously, the keyboard remains, however, I couldn't think of a good reason as to why Amazon would keep a whole product line to keep the keyboard. After all, e-readers are for reading rather than typing. Understandably, some people do use them for notes, but the on-screen keyboard for the Kindle Touch is certainly alright for 1 or 2 notes every now and then. So if we turn on the devices, we can take a look at the home menus. So, okay, so we can see that the menus are in some ways similar and in some ways very different. The Kindle Touch has been optimized for the touch screen, obviously, so you don't need to navigate up and down. Unfortunately for the Kindle Keyboard, we still have to use the directional pad so to move up and down. The Kindle Keyboard, as well as the Kindle 4, all use buttons rather than a touch screen, so there is no touching available for the either devices. All 3 devices perform fairly similar in terms of changing pages, so the speed is relatively similar. Perhaps the load speed is not. That's the reason. They were trying to sync to my furthest page. But basically the load times should be the same. And alright, let's see if I can do this right. Oops. The load times should be the same. The page changes should be the same. Of course, there are minor variations depending on time and the load on the back. So the reading experience is very similar. However, I did find that the Kindle Touch has hidden away a lot of options in the menus. So it's not as intuitive to use if you are doing anything outside of reading. The same can be said for the Kindle 4, except it's even more unbearable because you don't have the touch screen to navigate the menus. So you're not able to just touch. You have to use a directional pad to go through. The menus are a little more convoluted. However, it's a lot easier to it's streamlined for reading. So if you are reading fiction, it's a lot faster to get through. The dictionary is obviously a lot more intuitive because you simply tap the word and you're good to go. The Amazon Kindle, however, has a lot of buttons, so menus are always available fairly easily. They're always within 1 or 2 buttons away, instead of the Kindle Touch where things are hidden away. I do, again, prefer the Amazon Kindle keyboard, but that is simply because I use a wide array of media. So I do read class notes, books, scientific papers, all on this one device. However, if I was reading simply novels, then the Kindle Touch is a lot more intuitive to use. It's very easy, and you simply tap and tap and tap to turn to the next page, and dictionary is always available, and all the settings are there but hidden away. What worries me a little is that the Amazon Kindle Touch actually received an update a few days ago where some of the options were brought over from the Kindle keyboard and some new options were put into the Kindle Touch. Previously, I was going to mention that the Kindle Touch had options taken away. So for example, the Kindle keyboard was able to turn the text sideways, so you can arrange your screen sideways and read on the left. However, this was not available until a couple of days ago for the Kindle Touch, and I was a little worried that Amazon may be taking away features to make it a little more streamlined. Thankfully, Kindle Touch has caught up, but not only that, it has gotten new features. In particular, I like the fact that you're able to translate words immediately through their use of Bing. So you can translate from English to Japanese to Chinese to French or whatever. The Amazon Kindle Touch also supports the latest Kindle format, which is being rolled out for books that don't use a standard formatting, but also for things such as graphic novels and comics. And who'd want to miss that? So I'm a little worried that the Kindle keyboard may not be getting these updates that the Kindle 4 and the Kindle Touch are getting. However, I have been using the Kindle keyboard for a long time, and I could say that they feel very durable. The Kindle Touch has feels a little fragile, and it's even more true with the Kindle 4. Among the 3 smaller devices, I would recommend the Kindle 4 for reading books and only books, if that's all you do, because it is the cheapest model. It's quite similar to the Kindle Touch, and all the options are available, but they're just a little bit harder to get into. The Kindle Touch is my second choice, and the Kindle keyboard, as much as I love the device, it is showing its age, and Amazon doesn't have a tendency to update their older devices. So you are missing out on language support and formatting and on a lot of little fixes that Amazon has rolled out in their latest Kindles. So those are the 3 smaller devices, and we're moving on to the more obviously different devices. So let's talk about the Kindle DX Graphite first. As I mentioned already, it is the largest device, so it costs $379, so it is not a cheap device by any means. It is very light, so you can imagine that it's the size of a full sheet of paper, and if you've played around with any tablets and you think that this might be too heavy, this is a fraction of the weight of most tablets out there. So it's very lightweight. You can carry it around if you don't mind the size. Now, why would you want to buy a 9-inch device? Well, for a lot of people, they might think that all there is to a larger device is the support for larger fonts. On a smaller device, of course, you can move the fonts up. However, there are only, I don't know, 12, 20 words in this page. On a 9-inch device, obviously, the support is for more words. Now, that is true in some cases, but I think the real advantage of the Kindle DX is for PDF reading. If you are someone who collects PDFs, you may be inclined to purchase the Kindle DX Graphite simply because of its larger size screen. Now, what I mean by this is that the Kindle keyboard, for example, supports PDFs just fine. Let me just load one up on the side. However, the problem is that the screen is so tiny that you are always looking to zoom. Now, the screen is sharp enough so that you can make out the words. However, you really have to squint to see because this is hardly the size of a letter-sized page. Perhaps half, maybe even a little less than that. Now, again, there is the option to zoom. However, one of the limitations of e-ink screen is the refresh rate. So moving back and forth does take a second or two, and you can imagine that zooming for a whole book, moving left and right to read, would be headache-inducing. However, on a Amazon Kindle DX Graphite, the size is roughly 75–80% of a full-size page. So the words are very large. All the diagrams are faithfully drawn out, and you can see it without the need for zooming. Of course, the option to zoom is still there if you do have very small size fonts for certain diagrams. However, for the most part, you won't need to zoom. And that is the massive advantage of the Kindle DX Graphite. Unfortunately, the Kindle DX Graphite lacks in pretty much every other department. The Kindle DX Graphite is actually a slightly refreshed 2nd generation device. So you'll see that the buttons on the side are still 2nd generation hardware. This 5-way controller is very prone to breaking. These buttons make large snapping noises when you're reading. And while I don't have a lot of complaints with the hardware, the other fact is that Amazon has failed to update the device at all since the 2nd generation. So password protected PDF files, all of this language support I was talking about, none of that exists on the Amazon Kindle DX. Now, there are unofficial hacks to bring the 3rd generation software to the Graphite. However, the support isn't so great and there are bugs. Now, this is a big issue for me because I do read other languages, but not only that, considering that the Amazon Kindle DX, I would say, is a PDF powerhouse, the lack of support for PDF, password protected PDFs, and also even just using cursors within the PDF is a huge con. Now, some of this may have been forgiven. However, the Amazon Kindle DX's price is also stuck in the last generation, with devices such as the Kindle Touch and the Kindle keyboard nearing the $100 range, and the Kindle 4 actually breaking that $100 barrier. It's hard to understand why Amazon still charges $379 for the Kindle DX. I am not a huge fan of overpricing the device, and as such I cannot recommend it, even though I do use my Kindle DX a lot. I think Amazon is just completely dropped the ball with the Amazon Kindle DX Graphite and possibly just forgot about the existence of that product line, and we're not likely to ever see an update for the Kindle DX Graphite again. Now, the last device I want to talk about is the Kindle Fire, and this is the Android tablet. Now, Amazon still markets this as an e-reader because, of course, it can read books. However, the difference is obvious. There's a color screen that is LCD. It's not using e-ink, and the refresh rates are just great on a tablet. Now, this device is $200. However, it is a lot more versatile than an e-reader because it is a tablet. So, aside from reading text, which it does fine through the Kindle application, Amazon has also used the device to try and sell you their digital content. So we have videos, MP3s, and so on being streamed to the device. I do think the Amazon Kindle Fire is a good option for people who are buying an e-reader to read 1 or 2 books but want to keep a device that is still very versatile. So if you aren't a very serious reader, you may not want to shell out all that money for a dedicated e-reader. Instead, buy a tablet, read the 1 or 2 books, have your eyes tired for a day or two, but you still have a fully functional device that can watch movies, play games, look at pictures, and so on. I don't know if the Kindle Fire is really the best tablet out there. It's certainly a competitive tablet at $200, and its specs are good. However, that is for a whole different video to discuss. But the massive disadvantage of the Amazon Kindle in the tablet market is that it is using an Amazon edited version of Android. So as you can see, it has been tweaked very much for distributing Amazon's content rather than Google's. Again, it is very competitive at $200, and it's certainly good hardware. However, there are also a lot of great tablet devices at the $200 mark. If you are a little bit tech savvy, you can put in a new launcher and make this into a fully functional Android tablet. So this will run all the apps you want, all the videos, and of course still play the movie